Did you know that over 70% of drivers unknowingly make mistakes that can shorten the lifespan of their automatic car? Are you one of them? Doing these habits might be doing more harm than you realize. In today's video, we're diving into the 12 things you should never do in an automatic car. And stick around till the end because I'm sharing a bonus tip that could save you thousands in repairs and help your car last longer than you ever thought possible. Let's get started. Number 1. Don't run on low gas. Driving with low gas might seem like a harmless habit, but it's one of the worst things you can do to an automatic car. Modern cars are equipped with an electric fuel pump, which is located inside the gas tank. This pump is responsible for pulling fuel from the tank and sending it to the engine. However, it relies on the fuel itself for lubrication and cooling. When you run on low gas, especially below a quarter tank, the pump is no longer fully submerged, causing it to overheat and wear out much faster than intended. This overheating can lead to pump failure, which is a costly repair that can easily run into hundreds of dollars. Furthermore, gas tanks naturally collect sediment and debris over time. When you drive on low fuel, the pump is forced to draw from the bottom of the tank where this debris settles. These contaminants can clog your fuel filter, damage injectors, and even reduce engine performance by causing improper fuel delivery. If left unchecked, these issues can snowball into more serious damage to your engine and fuel system. Moreover, running out of fuel entirely in an automatic car isn't just inconvenient. It can also wreak havoc on your car's internal systems. Air pockets introduced into the fuel lines when the tank is empty can create pressure imbalances, making it harder for the fuel pump to work efficiently, even after refueling. This can lead to misfires, reduced power, and long-term damage to the fuel injection system. To avoid these costly repairs and ensure your car runs smoothly, make it a habit to refill your tank before it dips below a quarter. Not only will this protect your car's vital components, but it also ensures you're never left stranded due to an empty tank. Number 2. Don't coast in neutral. Coasting in neutral might seem like a fuel-saving hack, but it's a bad idea that can lead to serious damage and compromise your safety. Modern automatic transmissions are designed to work best when the car is in gear. Even when you're slowing down, shifting to neutral while coasting can disrupt the lubrication and hydraulic systems inside the transmission, which rely on the engine's power to keep everything running smoothly. Without proper lubrication, the internal components can wear out prematurely, leading to costly transmission repairs. Safety is another critical reason to avoid coasting in neutral. When your car is in gear, you have more control over its movement. The engine braking system helps slow the car down naturally without over-relying on the brakes, which can prevent them from overheating on long descents. In neutral, you lose this engine braking, putting more strain on your brake system and increasing the risk of brake failure in critical situations. If you need to accelerate quickly to avoid a hazard, shifting from neutral back into drive can cause a delay, which might be the difference between avoiding an accident and getting into one. Another myth is that coasting in neutral saves fuel. In reality, modern cars with electronic fuel injection systems are programmed to minimize fuel consumption when you take your foot off the accelerator while the car is in gear. In neutral, the engine still requires fuel to idle, which means you're not saving as much as you think. If anything, you might be wasting more fuel. Number 3, avoid doing launches. Performing hard launches, accelerating from a complete stop with the gas pedal floored, might feel exhilarating, but it's one of the quickest ways to damage your car. Unlike a manual transmission, where you have more direct control over clutch engagement and gear changes, an automatic transmission is designed for smooth transitions and efficient power delivery. Launching puts immense strain on critical components, including the torque converter, transmission gears, and drivetrain, all of which can lead to expensive damage if done repeatedly. When you attempt a launch in an automatic car, the torque converter is forced to handle a sudden spike in power from the engine. This rapid energy transfer can cause overheating and premature wear, reducing its efficiency over time. Furthermore, the transmission fluid, which is essential for cooling and lubrication, can degrade faster under these extreme conditions, leading to insufficient protection for internal components. Overheating transmission fluid can also result in slipping gears and long-term transmission failure. Hard launches also take a toll on your drivetrain components like the drive shaft, axle, and differential. They're not designed to handle the sudden jolt of energy that comes with an aggressive launch. Repeated stress can lead to broken axles or even damage to the differential, which are repairs that cost thousands of dollars. Moreover, the increased tire wear from these sudden bursts of acceleration will shorten the lifespan of your tires, costing you more in frequent replacements. It's important to remember that automatic transmissions are built for reliability and longevity, but only if they are treated with care. To preserve your car and avoid costly repairs, accelerate gradually from a stop instead of flooring the gas pedal. Number 4. Never drive without warming up your engine. Jumping into your car and driving off immediately, especially in colder weather, might seem convenient, but it's a habit that can significantly harm your engine over time. When an engine is cold, the oil inside is thicker and hasn't yet circulated properly through all the components. This lack of lubrication increases friction and wear on critical engine parts, including the pistons, cylinders, and valve train. For automatic transmissions, this issue is even more critical because the transmission fluid also needs time to reach its optimal operating temperature to ensure smooth shifting and proper performance. Driving with a cold engine puts additional stress on your automatic transmission. The hydraulic system in the transmission relies on the fluid being at the right temperature and viscosity to operate efficiently. When the fluid is cold, it's thicker, making it harder for the system to engage gears properly. This can lead to rough shifts, delayed acceleration, and even long-term damage to the transmission's internal components. Over time, this unnecessary stress can degrade the transmission fluid faster and reduce the overall lifespan of your transmission. Furthermore, cold starts can affect your car's fuel efficiency and emissions. Modern engines use a richer air-fuel mixture when cold to compensate for lower combustion efficiency. Driving off immediately forces the engine to work harder while still in this inefficient state, wasting fuel and increasing wear on components. Moreover, if you push the engine hard during this phase, it can cause overheating and damage, particularly to sensitive parts like the head gasket. To avoid these issues, it's essential to allow your engine a few moments to warm up after starting, especially in cold weather. You don't need to let it idle for long. About 30 seconds to a minute is sufficient for most modern cars. Number 5. Leaving car in drive mode while sitting. Sitting in your car with the engine running and the gear set to drive might seem harmless, especially if you're just waiting for a short time. However, this practice can be detrimental to your automatic transmission and even pose safety risks. When the car is in drive, the transmission remains engaged and the engine continues sending power to the wheels, even if you're holding down the brake. This creates unnecessary strain on both the transmission and the brake system. The transmission in drive mode is designed to facilitate motion, not to hold the car stationary for extended periods. Keeping it engaged while idling can lead to overheating of the transmission fluid, particularly if this habit is frequent. Overheated transmission fluid loses its ability to lubricate and cool effectively, which can result in premature wear on the internal components of your transmission. Over time, this can lead to costly repairs or even complete transmission failure. Your brake system also suffers when you keep the car in drive while stationary. The constant pressure on the brakes to keep the car from moving increases brake pad wear and generates excess heat, which can reduce braking efficiency over time. This is especially concerning in stop-and-go traffic or when waiting at long signals. Safety is another critical concern. If your foot slips off the brake, even for a moment, the car can lurch forward unexpectedly, putting pedestrians, other vehicles, or yourself at risk. This risk is heightened in areas with heavy foot traffic or close vehicle proximity. To avoid these issues, always shift your car into park or neutral with the parking brake engaged if you're going to be stationary for more than a few seconds. Number 6. Don't rest your hand on the gear stick. While the gear stick in an automatic transmission is primarily used to select drive modes, its internal mechanism is connected to the shift linkage, which engages specific gears inside the transmission. Applying constant pressure, even lightly, can create unnecessary strain on these delicate components, leading to misalignments or premature wear. One of the most significant risks is damaging the shift linkage or the transmission's control mechanisms. Even though it may feel sturdy, the gear stick and its connected parts are not designed to bear weight or endure constant pressure. Over time, this can lead to slack or looseness in the shift linkage, causing difficulty in shifting gears or improper engagement of the transmission. In worst-case scenarios, it could result in costly repairs to the internal transmission components. Resting your hand on the gear stick also encourages poor driving posture, reducing your reaction time in emergency situations. Both hands should ideally be on the steering wheel for optimal control and quick maneuverability. By keeping your hand on the gear stick, you're compromising your ability to respond swiftly to potential hazards on the road. To avoid these issues, make it a habit to only touch the gear stick when you need to change gears or modes. Once you've shifted into drive, keep your hand on the steering wheel or in your lap instead of letting it rest on the gear stick. Number 7. Shifting modes into a running car. Automatic transmissions are engineered to engage specific gears depending on your selected mode, and shifting modes while the vehicle is moving creates a sudden mismatch between the car's speed and the internal gear engagement. This can result in a jarring mechanical shock that puts excessive strain on the transmission system. One of the most vulnerable components in this situation is the transmission's clutch packs or bands, which are responsible for engaging and disengaging gears. When you shift modes while the car is running, these parts are forced to operate under extreme pressure, leading to faster wear and, in some cases, complete failure. However, the transmission fluid, which is essential for smooth gear changes and proper cooling, cannot circulate correctly under these abrupt conditions. This can lead to overheating, reduced lubrication, and long-term damage to internal components. Another critical point is the potential damage to the parking pawl, a small but vital component that locks the transmission when in park. If you attempt to shift into park while the car is still moving, the parking pawl can break or become misaligned, leaving your car unable to hold its position securely when parked. Repairs for such issues can be expensive and inconvenient. From a safety perspective, sudden mode changes can also compromise vehicle control. For instance, shifting into reverse while driving forward can cause the wheels to lock momentarily, leading to skidding or loss of control. This not only endangers you, but also other drivers on the road. Number 8. Switching to parking mode into a moving car. The park mode in an automatic car engages a small metal component called the parking pawl, which locks the transmission to prevent the wheels from turning. This mechanism is designed to hold a stationary car in place, not to stop a moving vehicle. If you attempt to switch to park while the car is still in motion, the parking pawl is forced to engage against the rotating components of the transmission, leading to severe stress and possible breakage. When the parking pawl breaks or becomes damaged, it can no longer lock the transmission properly, meaning your car might roll unexpectedly even when parked. Repairing or replacing this component is not only expensive but also time-consuming. Worse yet, this action can damage other parts of the transmission, such as the gear teeth or the shift linkage, compounding the repair costs. From a safety standpoint, switching to park while moving can cause your wheels to lock suddenly, leading to a skid or loss of control. This increases the risk of an accident, especially in high-traffic areas or on slippery roads. Number 9. Not using the emergency brake. Not using the emergency brake might seem like a minor oversight, especially if your car is parked on a flat surface. However, neglecting this crucial feature can lead to long-term damage to your automatic transmission and compromise your vehicle's safety. The emergency brake isn't just for emergencies. It's designed to take the stress off your transmission when the car is parked. When you put your car in park, a small metal component engages to lock the transmission and prevent the wheels from moving. If you don't use the emergency brake, All the weight of your car rests solely on this tiny piece of metal. Over time, this constant pressure can weaken or break the parking pawl, especially if your car is parked on an incline. A broken pawl can result in your car rolling unexpectedly, creating a hazardous situation. Furthermore, relying solely on the park gear increases the wear and tear on your transmission components. The strain on the transmission is significantly reduced when the emergency brake is engaged because it helps hold the car in place mechanically, rather than relying entirely on the transmission system. From a safety perspective, the emergency brake serves as an added layer of protection. If the parking pawl fails or the car is jostled while parked, the emergency brake ensures the vehicle stays securely in place. This is especially important on steep slopes or uneven surfaces. Number 10. Leaving car in neutral into traffic. Leaving your car in neutral while stopped in traffic might seem like a way to reduce strain on your vehicle, but it's a dangerous habit that can lead to mechanical issues and compromise your safety. Unlike drive, where the transmission remains engaged and ready to move, neutral disconnects the engine's power from the wheels. While this might sound like it's giving your car a break, it actually does more harm than good in several ways. One of the biggest risks of leaving your car in neutral is the lack of control. When your car is in neutral, you can't accelerate quickly if you need to move out of the way of a hazard, such as another vehicle suddenly swerving toward you. This delay in response time can increase the likelihood of accidents, especially in high traffic or emergency situations. However, leaving a car in neutral puts unnecessary strain on your brakes. In drive, the engine provides a small amount of resistance, known as engine braking, which helps hold the car stationary. In neutral, this resistance is absent, meaning your brakes have to work harder to keep the car from rolling, particularly on inclines. Over time, this added strain can lead to premature brake pad wear and reduced braking efficiency. From a mechanical perspective, frequently shifting to neutral and back to drive in stop-and-go traffic can wear out the shift linkage and transmission components. Automatic transmissions are designed to operate smoothly while in drive, and constantly switching gears can disrupt the transmission's fluid flow, leading to overheating or premature wear. For optimal safety and to protect your car, it's best to keep your vehicle in drive while stopped in traffic and simply hold the brake. Number 11. Getting water into the transmission. Allowing water to get into your car's transmission is one of the most damaging mistakes you can make, and it can lead to catastrophic failures. The transmission is a sealed system that relies on transmission fluid for lubrication, cooling, and efficient operation. Water intrusion compromises the fluid's integrity, creating a mixture that cannot properly lubricate or cool the internal components. This can lead to extensive damage to gears, clutches, and other critical parts. One of the most common ways water enters the transmission is during floods or when driving through deep water. Modern cars have vents or seals in the transmission system, which under normal conditions keep debris out while allowing for thermal expansion. However, when submerged, these vents can allow water to seep into the system, especially if the car remains in standing water for an extended period. The immediate effect of water in the transmission is the contamination of the transmission fluid. Water causes the fluid to lose its viscosity and cooling properties, leading to overheating and increased friction within the transmission. Over time, this can result in the failure of key components, such as the torque converter or clutches. The water can also corrode sensitive parts of the transmission, leading to long-term damage. Number 12. Ignoring warning signs and neglecting maintenance. Ignoring warning signs and neglecting regular maintenance is perhaps the most damaging thing you can do for your automatic transmission. Automatic transmissions are highly sophisticated systems that require periodic fluid changes, filter replacements, and system checks to remain in optimal condition. If you don't address issues promptly, minor problems can snowball into expensive repairs.